Welcome to the real world. My name is Cameron, joined by Carson.
I'm Carson.
And we are here to talk about Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2.
Part Deuce.
And we've got the Blu-ray here. We picked it up. I'm going to do a review on this in just a minute.
That's right.
First, we just wanted to talk about the movie. We're huge DC fans.
Of course, we've loved DC. We've loved this Tomorrowverse.
The Tomorrowverse has been excellent. I mean, we grew up with the DC animated universe. Batman the Animated Series, Superman, Justice League, Static Shock, Batman Beyond.
The whole Bruce Timm animated slew
of
movies has been really great.
Yeah.
And that's complete. I feel that has a good beginning and end.
Yeah, absolutely.
The epilogue to that is fantastic.
Yep. Then they did, of course, the animated movie universe.
Right.
From Justice League.
Yes.
Flashpoint Paradox, all the way to Dark Apocalypse War.
Mm-hmm.
That was one universe.
The DCAMU.
That's right.
DCAMU. DC Animated Movie Universe.
Yes.
Get with the times.
Get with
the acronyms.
Yeah. But then they started the Tomorrowverse. And the Tomorrowverse,
the Tomorrowverse,
people were kind of upset because they liked the DC Animated Universe a lot. And a DC Animated Movie Universe, I should say. And then, they decided to end it.
Right.
Reboot, basically. Restart the whole thing.
Yeah.
And start from scratch. And so, we got Superman Man of Tomorrow.
Right. Yes.
Which kicked it off, I think, in a great way. A fresh interpretation of Superman based a lot on American Alien, which
this is where we get the Tomorrowverse title. This is Man of Tomorrow, the first movie.
Yep.
What I love about the Tomorrowverse is all of these movies feel very self-contained.
Yeah.
And they totally work as movies in and of themselves.
Yes, I agree.
Even Long Halloween Parts 1 and 2.
Absolutely. That one maybe even more so.
Yeah, for sure.
Than the others.
Even those two parts work on their own.
Oh, sure. Right.
And even together, it's great. But, Long Halloween's directly adapting that comic. So, but yeah, what I love about these movies is they're all self-contained and they work as movies in and of themselves.
Yep.
That was one of my problems with the DCAMU.
Right.
The older universe.
Yeah.
It felt more like we're just leading to the next one and we're just, it's just a little convoluted feel.
Sure.
But this doesn't have that. This animated universe.
Right. I agree.
Pretty good.
Which I like. And then the animation is another thing people didn't really care for because it had a lot of bolder lines. It was a totally different style.
Yeah.
I liked it that they changed it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just see the same animation style over and over again.
Right.
And that's what, when you look at all the DC animated movies, going back to 2007, Superman Doomsday,
right?
Each one is pretty distinct from the last.
For sure.
And so I enjoy when they kind of mix it up a little bit.
Definitely.
The voice talent is always on point in these movies. I think that goes here too for Infinite Earths Part 2, which we've already done a review of Part 1. If you guys want to watch that, you can go and check that out on the channel now.
Of course.
But we're specifically talking about Part 2 now. And this just came out this past week. Picked up the Blu-ray. Had to check it out.
Yeah, we just finished watching
it. Just finished watching it.
So, what did you think? What are your initial first impressions on this movie?
So my first impressions are it's probably one of the weaker ones of this universe. And I think that has to do with the fact that it's a Part 2 of a 3-part story. And so you don't really get the introduction to it. You don't get the ending. So you're kind of just in the middle going, okay, there's some interesting stuff that happens. There's some cool developments. I was surprised by how character focused it was on a character I did not expect it to focus on, which is Psycho Pirate.
That's right. Psycho Pirate is basically the protagonist of this movie.
He actually is on the cover. He's pretty prominent on the cover there. So,
okay.
But it's not a Batman story, as it suggests.
No.
Although the Bat family is in several sequences that are pretty cool. I mean, you're the Batman fan. What did you think of those scenes? Give me your thoughts.
So those scenes were really fun. They're just... my whole problem with this movie is it just feels very muddled. It feels very unfocused. It feels like we're constantly jumping from subplot to subplot.
Sure.
And all of it doesn't really... add up to anything significant.
Right.
And that was kind of my biggest problem with the representation of the Bat family in this. Is Psycho Pirate is kind of manipulating everyone, and kind of turning their emotions against each other.
Yeah, the theme of the film is trust.
Right.
So the movie is all about we have to trust each other, work together. All these different superheroes from different worlds that don't know each other or have different experiences with each other.
Sure.
In my world, you're a villain. On my world, you did this. And so there's all this kind of conflict. And they have to learn to work together and trust each other.
Exactly.
Which is a cool theme, and I think it's played out really well.
Yeah, I think so
for
too.
The most part.
And going back to the Bat family, especially for them, because this is a Batman who has no sidekicks.
Yeah.
A Batman who works alone in his universe. You have a Huntress, who's the daughter of Batman in her universe.
Right.
You have a Robin, you have Damian Wayne, who's son of Batman. You have Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, voiced by the original voice actor.
Will Friedle came back.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
And you have Batwing who makes a little cameo.
And then Batgirl, too.
That's right, Batgirl's in it as well. Yep. They don't really all get time to shine. Like, they don't get, like, arcs or any kind of real development with Bruce.
Yeah, I could imagine for someone who's not a big DC Comics fan, this is not really going to work for them.
No.
For us, we know the whole backstory of all these characters,
right.
So it kind of works for us because we know like where they're coming from, what they're doing. So I feel like it works a little better for lifelong fans. But yeah, I could see how anyone else coming into this would just be like, I don't get it. It doesn't work. I feel
for sure.
nothing here.
Yeah,
you know?
Movies like these that are marketed as multiversal events, big...
They're selling it to us.
Huge scale. They're selling it to the big fans.
Right. Right.
The fans who read the comics, the fans who watch the shows.
We've watched all the movies.
We've bought all the movies. You know, we know all of it. We're the demographic.
Yeah.
We're the people who are going to enjoy this the most because there's no need for unnecessary exposition and explaining what Huntress's relationship to this version of Robin is.
Sure.
Although
they do a little bit of that in part 1.
Sure.
You know, they do that in part 1 pretty well.
It's very brief, though.
It's very
brief. The story isn't focused on that.
Yeah.
Now, this story is focused on Psycho Pirate.
Yeah.
And his origin, which I was actually glad to hear about because
I thought it was really cool.
He's a very, very obscure character.
Very obscure. Very obscure, yes.
A James Gunn level obscure character.
Right, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the main villain in his Justice League.
Right, sure, yeah. Good, but he's a cool character. I like seeing his backstory and his development throughout the movie.
Right. The thing that bored me, I'll be honest, was all the Monitor stuff. The Monitor stuff with Supergirl, it was an interesting idea, and I get what they were trying to do. I was almost nodding off a couple times.
I mean,
right
just
these long scenes of like them eating meals together and talking about multiversal stuff and big sci-fi comic book jargon.
Oddly, it kind of went into Supergirl's origin, which we had seen many times before.
Yeah, I don't know why they kept.
I think we've seen it 3 times by now.
Yeah,
her origin. They went back into her origin.
Yeah.
And
we saw it in Legion of Superheroes. Yeah. We saw it in part 1.
We saw it in
this again. They keep
very
hammering it home.
I'm
not sure why. Maybe in the part 3 it'll be a big thing. Like, oh, now we get it. But I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Monitor as a character is very uninteresting.
Yeah, he's not really a character.
He's like a vessel. He's a vessel
he's
for.
A plot device.
He's a vessel for. He's basically the Watcher in the sense that he's an observer of things who intervened, and now all this chaos is breaking loose. So he's a plot vessel for the interesting superhero characters to be thrust into this multiversal adventure.
And that's not a dig at the actor. We watched the behind the scenes, and the actor clearly loved playing him and did a great job playing him.
And it was a difficult role because making a role like that sound not robotic.
Yes, we talked about that. Yeah,
making it work, finding that precise. It was good.
Yeah, it was good. And he mentioned he loves animation, like animation in cinema. I forget what he says exactly. Animation is fun or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, all the voice acting is great.
Amazing. I think the team behind it is doing great work.
Aldous Hodge, man, we want him to play the live-action Jon Stewart because he plays the role so well. He understands the character. Yeah. He even mentioned Phil LaMarr from the DCAU.
That's right.
Which was great. So yeah, voice acting is great. Wes Gleason's done a great job with that. Kevin Reipel's music I thought was on point too. Really liked his music in this one. He's always done a good job with the music in these. So all in all, I mean, I still enjoyed watching it for the most part. I wouldn't say it's upper level best of the best DC. It's maybe 3.5 is where I'm at.
I give it a 2-star.
Okay.
I give it a 2.
Okay.
I think that if it were more self-contained and more focused,
Yeah.
Rather that's on Psycho Pirate or
Sure.
if it's on something else.
And like I'm saying,
cut out the time with Commandy.
Yeah.
Cut out
Well,
the time.
I kind of like that though.
I mean, it's cool
because he was in that short film.
He was.
He's connected to this universe in a pretty big way.
Yeah.
He even ties into Justice Society.
Sure, he does.
So
yeah,
I didn't mind that, and I thought him again another cool. Probably
Apparent.
the one that was most connected to the theme of trust was him and Solivar working together.
Yeah.
Because he hates all monkey people.
So focus the story on something like that.
Right.
Or focus it on Supergirl. This is another Supergirl story. Our third Supergirl movie.
Yeah.
Or focus it on Psycho Pirate. Or focus it on the Bat Family.
Sure.
Pick one and really hammer that home.
It's hard to do it with a multiverse story because you want it to feel big. And you want it to feel like, I got to see all my favorite characters.
Right. I think part 1 did it really well.
Part 1 did it
because they
really
focused
well.
on Flash.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the other characters around Flash were interesting and cool.
Right.
And had their little moments.
Yes.
But it's about Flash.
And again, I thought from the cover, we're going to get, this will be the Batman one.
Yeah.
We got the
Flash,
one,
Batman, and
maybe Superman at the end. But it's not really what they did. I mean, Batman has a storyline that we're following through it, but it's pretty small, self-contained, doesn't have any major impact on the story.
Something I forgot about until literally just now.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman dies in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I forgot.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, all the Amazons die.
Our Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That we've been following since since Just Society.
Right.
Dies in this movie.
Just like Flash died in part 1.
But it's Flash's
Who's
death.
Who's gonna die in part 3?
The whole movie was building to Flash's death.
Right.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And it had a great emotional resolution.
Yeah, for sure.
This was just
abrupt. Like she's in a battle and she dies. Yeah. I don't know. I think the whole thing of this, they'll probably all die. That's my prediction for part 3. Is the whole universe over, everyone dies. Maybe Supergirl survives.
To me,
she'll probably be the survivor.
Right. What I'm comparing this to, always, and it's difficult for me not to, is just like Dark Apocalypse War.
Just like Dark Apocalypse War does this all in one movie.
That's right.
Instead of 3 parts.
Which
is impressive.
It's far more interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
And it takes big risks.
It's not a multiverse story.
It's crazy.
It's all in the same world.
Yeah.
And it's a post-apocalyptic.
They went crazy.
Yeah.
They went Avengers Endgame, basically.
I think they went crazier than Endgame.
They really did.
If you think about what they did,
it actually has Superman. A lot in common with what Snyder seemed to be setting up for his universe.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
The Nightmare World.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's basically that.
Yeah.
It's a post-apocalyptic Justice League.
Right.
Superman loses his powers. Mm-hmm. He has this permanent kryptonite tattoo on his chest.
Yeah.
I mean, all those heroes are in disarray.
Yeah.
And
Batman's
chaos.
Mobius.
Batman's in the Mobius chair, and he's like evil. It's crazy.
Wonder Woman's a cyborg.
The things that they do, the things that they do, the decisions that they make that last are crazy.
It is,
and that's why that really worked as a epic culmination of everything.
Right.
Because they made hard decisions and stuck with them.
Yeah.
Didn't undo anything. Yeah. And didn't unceremoniously just like end a character for no reason.
Yeah.
They killed a lot of characters. They killed basically everyone.
They did, yeah.
But it all had purpose and resolution.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
So
I give it 2 stars.
Wow.
I think that anybody who likes the Tomorrowverse should probably check it out.
Yeah.
At least the 3 parts when the 3 parts are out.
Sure.
But I personally, I think even compared to the first Crisis movie, not nearly as good. Not nearly as good.
Like I said, it's the weakest of the whole Tomorrowverse.
I agree.
As a film.
For sure.
Again, hopefully part 3 makes this worth watching, and we'll all go, okay, this is a great trilogy now when we look back at it. But as of now, not the best. Again, worth watching, especially if you've invested the time in all these movies. Definitely check it out.
Hopefully they stick the landing. Honestly, that's all part 3 has to do.
Exactly. Bring it to a satisfying conclusion. Yeah. That's difficult, but I think from what we've seen in these first 2 parts, they have a clear story.
Oh yeah, I mean they talked about in the behind the scenes of part 1,
right?
That they've been planning these 3-part movies since the beginning of the Tomorrowverse. That's true,
because there's things that come back, and that happened again here. Mm-hmm. John Constantine, and we even get to see Flash briefly during the. So
I have confidence that they'll stick the landing. I think that part 3 will be really good.
Yeah.
Part 2 just didn't really do it for me.
Yeah. but we're still big Jim Krieg fans.
Of course.
And like that he's gotten to kind of spread his wings with this universe here that he's kind of overseeing.
He's done an amazing job.
He really has. It's a really fun continuity to watch because, like you're saying, you can kind of just watch whatever one you want out of order. But if you watch them all in order, you get a lot out of it.
Little bits and pieces start building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It's
very, very cleverly put together.
So let us know what you think in the comments below of the Tomorrowverse, specifically of Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. And let us know if you picked up the Blu-ray. I'm going to review that now, so you can check that out on the channel soon. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos, and we'll see you next time right here on The Real World.